If you are in the green industry and you're ready to scale, this is your place. I am your host, Andy Wilson, with 16 years of experience in the green industry. Whether you're starting out or you're looking to take your business to the next level, this is your space to learn, to grow, and to hustle smarter. Now, let's get to work. In tonight's episode, we have a special guest, Keith Kalfas. He has 35,200 followers on Instagram. He has 26,000 followers on TikTok and 157,000 subscribers to YouTube with 2.6 thousand videos uploaded. It's an honor to have you tonight, Keith. Thank you for joining the Lawn Hustle.
Likewise, brother.
I want to start out talking about the right mindset to run and operate a service industry business. So let me ask you, what separates the guys who grow to $1 million from the ones who give up in year number 2?
It's a great question. I don't know the answer to that.
Well, in my humble opinion, it can't be just because of tools or trucks or better mowers. I think it's got to be a mindset. Someone's got to make up their mind and be determined that no matter what comes my way, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to overcome every obstacle. What do you think about that?
Well, I believe if you could put Dale Earnhardt Jr. in a Pinto, and he's going to lose every time.
Right.
So I believe that profit margins and profitability, location, and a lot of other things come into play, because there's people who are a heck of a lot dumber than some of the smartest people that do luxury high profit margin services that afford them the ability to actually scale. So some of the smartest people that are just not making enough profit margins to afford scalability will never scale without the right profits.
Well, I have been a long time follower of yours on Instagram and YouTube.
Oh, thank you.
And every time I watch one of your videos, whether you're out walking and you're talking, sitting on the back of your tailgate talking, whatever the situation is, you inspire me, you motivate me, and you make me want to be better. So I feel like you are one of our positive voices in the green industry. And do you feel like one must have the right frame of mind, the right thinking in order to be successful in running a service industry business?
I think that it's the number one thing to have to be successful is to have a heart of service. And because if you don't have a heart of service, you can be in the most luxury high-end areas and have the most capacity and opportunity for profits and profit margin, but without a heart of service, it's just going to be purely transactional, and I don't think the heart and spirit of the business will be there. You can definitely get a man-hour rate of about $100 an hour per guy, which is enough to grow, providing that you're really efficient and really, really tight and really clean with your operations. But as far as mindset, so I think it's a monomaniacal focus, because 80% of success is just showing up, and then the ability to handle tons of rejection and to get through the no's fast enough so you can get to the yeses. So if you're willing to go through, 50 no's to get a yes, you don't worry about the no's and the rejection, and you say, give me the no's. The no's get me to the yeses faster. And so when your back is against the wall and you have a family that you love and you have dreams you want to pursue, along with the heart of service, that makes sense too. And also, as far as mindset, I really believe that having an understanding of math is very important. Math is the path, because you can have all the hustle and grit and willingness to do labor until you can work yourself to death. I mean, I've done it to the point of I probably have permanent shoulder injury from trimming shrubs and working. But if you don't understand how to or learn or find mentors that teach you, because you got like my friend Brandon Vaughn teaches MAPS, marketing, administration, production, and sales. The marketing pillar, administrative pillar, production pillar, sales pillar. So let's go to sales. If you look at yourself as a salesperson in your business, salespeople, if they don't sell, they don't eat. If you let yourself off the hook all the time as the business owner and you don't have a sales mindset, sales solve all problems combined with marketing. And there's you, your market, your marketing, your people, and your systems. There's those five powers. So you and your control of yourself, proper hydration, proper diet, proper sleep, and then so it's sleep, diet, exercise, hydration. Yeah, those basic things. And then the next thing is I go deep into rabbit holes. If you're not getting your quote unquote getting your needs met in your life, in your personal life, and you're going through some type of like suffering or something, you can name it whatever it is. I won't go into it. That's going to affect your ability to have a heart of service as well. So what I did early on is I realized I could just throw myself into my work and just take all that and be extremely productive and get that figured out. So back to being a salesperson now, combining with marketing, you think like every single customer is an opportunity. Every person knows at least 100 people. So you're always asking for the referral. You're upselling the customers with packages and add-ons. If you do, well, I don't know what you want to specialize in, but and you shouldn't have too many services. But if I'm really trying to quote unquote get as much profit and profitability as possible, I'm using with our property opportunity checklist, upsells and add-ons. If a customer wants a quote for lawn care for $50 or shrub trimming for $300 or $400, I'm saying, well, we could trim all the shrubs on your property. We can do all the garden beds, pull the weeds, etch them out. We could do mulch, decorative stone. We can trim all the ornamental trees. We can clean the gutters. We can power wash the driveway. I mean, let's turn this $300 into $3,000. Because once you've acquired a customer, your CAC, customer acquisition costs, goes down because now you already have the customer. And if you want to make more money, it's the easiest, fastest way is to sell your customers more work. Second is to get the referral, because word of mouth is always the best form of marketing and advertising because it's the most powerful. Is to get the referral and get the 5-star review from every single customer, and then to get to their neighbors. So work sells work. Work creates work. If you got a truck with letters and you and your employees have nice embroidered shirts and you're clean cut and you always have business cards, you always have door hangers, flyers, you have yard signs, and you're promoting your business or running Facebook ads or anything that's in the local area, you're looking at all the neighbors too, doing 5 rounds and 7 rounds, saying, let me lock down this entire neighborhood. So I'm going to go an inch wide and a mile deep. So it's a mindset of obsessiveness over growing and reinvesting back into your business. Next thing in mindset is, I said you. So there's you, your market, your marketing, your people, and your systems. You, aside from getting like your needs met, is your education. So your truck is a mobile university because it has speakers and Bluetooth. Well, so is a Bluetooth headphones with some sound protection earmuffs. So every single second you're not communicating with a human being is a minute to have a subscription like audible.com. I just looked and I'm like platinum listening level. I've I've read four. I'm reading my 479th book, or well, 480th book actually. And I've listened to 398 books on audible.com. I mean, you can listen to Traction, Get a Grip, and Rocket Fuel by Gino Wickman, and all the books about the EOS method. You can listen to 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, Laws of Human Nature. You can listen to Wayne Dyer Collection, the Jim Rohn Ultimate Library. You can listen to Zig Ziglar, Deepak Chopra, Brian Tracy, Eckhart Tolle. If you got problems going on in your personal life, audiobooks. If you got problems with your cash flow, audiobooks. If you want to listen to Simple Talk, Big Profits, Greg Crabtree. I mean, I'm talking, you can stand on the shoulders of giants and get $1 million worth of multiple master's degrees by listening to audiobooks while you work. And audiobooks anywhere from $5 to $25. Tony Robbins' Money, Master the Game. I mean, these books will, I mean, so they can actually make you go insane because you're learning all these amazing things and you're still out there just doing landscaping. But you can learn about people skills and neurolinguistic programming and hypnotherapy and levels of presence that when you communicate with customers, they're just like showing you a totally different level of respect than ever before, to where now they want to pay you exactly what you want to ask, and they want to tip you because your quality of presence is so high quality that instead of say looking outward and thinking value is one day you'll get a Bentley, you realize you're the Bentley. The microcellular level of health in your body and your DNA, and like the gift that you are a walking miracle. It's one out of centitrillion. It doesn't even exist for you to be here at this space time. This it's so you're the Bentley. Your emotions are a miracle. Your emotions are the Bentley. Your health. So it's like you can invest so much into yourself, and you realize how valuable you are. You know your worth uh, on such a deep level, on a biological level, on a spirit. There's 7 different levels of truth. So when you align those levels of truth and you put God first and then family and all these other things, that you realize, like Robin Sharma says, there's 8 forms of wealth in his book, The Wealth Money Can't Buy. Money is one small part of it. And we live in basically the jurisdiction of commerce and Roman civil law. It's like in this public charitable trust, money controls everything. It's oxygen. So you can feel like you're going insane because you need money, but then once you finally get some money and you grow your business and it's working, and you're taking care of clients, then like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you start moving up the ladder from survival mode to like, oh, if I could just survive and put Christmas presents under the tree. Um, so you want to talk about mindset, bro? I mean, I spent years in survival mode to climb a mountain, and I thought when I got to the top, I realized it was an anthill that I climbed. All the blood, sweat, and tears was nothing more than an anthill, and I ended up in discouragement and depression because my friends on the internet, so a lot of them are, some of them my real friends, they're running $100 million businesses, and these are guys that are younger than me. I'm like, bro, I just spent 15 years bleeding and sweating and and doing everything I could every single second of every single day nonstop, including putting my face on the ground praising the Lord Jesus Christ. Just everything I can to be the best human that I can possibly be. And I've only climbed an anthill. And dude over here has got $100 million. I got $100 million business. And you know what? I wouldn't want his problems, and I wouldn't want to be in his shoes because it's not the will for my life. But we've been lied to by society in this matrix that we're in, that if you figure out how to make a whole bunch of money, that you are all of a sudden have all 8 forms of wealth. Maybe that person figured out 1 or 2 or 3 forms of the wealth, but they, and I hope they're balanced in all levels of wealth. But the one thing I know for sure about mindset is that if you say like the grass is greener on the other side, right? We should never compromise your morals, your integrity, or any of that stuff for success or money. But if you do what it takes to get to the next level financially or grow in whatever way, but you totally miss the mark and the calling on your life, and there's a major deficit, I think that's a very scary place to be. I think you have a role and a calling on your life that's so specific that you need to get into alignment with. And there's only one other exception to that, is consciousness. If you grow something for the sake to create cash flow and to create money, and you do it consciously, and you understand that you're building a structure that creates cash flow, that you're not deeply emotionally attached to, it's not connected to your nervous system, you're doing it and you know why you're doing it, that's the exception. What I mean is, like, you could grow a landscaping business and you actually take care of your customers, and you care about your employees, and you actually care for real. You cross every T and dot every I, but it's not your greatest calling in life. It's just a vehicle to get you something else. And you understand that this landscaping or lawn care business, it's nothing more than a stepping stone or a vehicle or a training wheels business. It's something that I can just use as a catalyst for now or for 25 years, whatever. It's a vehicle, right? So you, instead of being inside of this thing that's controlling your whole life, and each breath it's connected to your nervous system, because that's what, when you're in survival mode, neurons that fire together wire together always. If you study neuroplasticity and neuroscience, the little micro traumas you go through if a customer rips you off or you underquote something and end up working for free, and now if you've been, I'm sure everybody here on listening has been through some type of financial struggle. I know I have. It's very emotional, especially as a man. The men who are listening, it's very taxing when you go home and you look in the eyes of, like, your wife, and you promised you guys would go on a vacation, or you dreamed about getting this home, and this stuff isn't happening as fast as you thought it would. I mean, I've literally gone in the mirror and I've called myself I don't do this anymore. You should never speak bad about yourself because your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference. I've called myself a piece of shit. I've When I was a younger guy, I actually have punched myself in the face because I hated myself, and I was so ashamed of myself because I had these expectations that were so high. I thought I was going to be a multi-millionaire by the time I was, like, my late 20s. I thought all these things just because I had the ambition and I had read Think and Grow Rich. I felt lied to. And not hard, just like I don't know, it was victim crap, like punching myself in the face. Like, I so that's the level of what shame can bring. So mindset, like, and here's the one thing, I'm going to go back to him. His name is Joshua Latimer. He's a good friend of mine. He's coached over like 1,000 business owners. And he said one time, he said, wait, what are you optimizing for? If you're optimizing for making a lot of money and a lot of profit, and you're conscious about that, that makes sense. What are you optimizing for? Because if I think about my YouTube channel, we have 300,000 followers on social media. My videos have helped start around 10,000 businesses and prevented suicides, right? If I'm optimizing for lives impacted, I win. So it's like, what are you optimizing for? Let's just say, like, you love God and you're in the business of saving souls and you want to help as many people, I don't know, get off drugs and alcohol, or just find Jesus, right? I'm just making this up. And you really believe in your heart you're in the business of saving souls. Does it really? There are people that are so deeply involved in that business that they don't even have time to run a full-time business and deal with employees. They're literally preaching on the street. And so it's like, what are you optimizing for? Um, and I believe that. So there's a balance, and there should be a 2 to 3 year period where you're totally imbalanced. And for 2 to 3 years, you're just completely obsessed in hyper communication with the people around you. Like, hey, I love you, but I have to go 100 miles an hour to get this business off the ground and to get it past 250K or something like that. As long as you're conscious and you communicate with the people that you love. I spent a decade not talking to friends or family besides maybe on the holidays because I was fighting like a mad dog to get out of the generational curse, poverty trap that I was in to build Keith Kalfas. And so the mindset, yeah. And I think that it's important to say stuff like that because on the internet, most people don't care about like real. I'm not saying anybody here. I'm just saying most people don't care about the real deep heart and spirit of things. They just see something shiny, and I just think we're almost like we're spiritually inept. We're about 25,000 years behind in our evolution. I don't know if we're being held back by something, but our DNA is not firing on all cylinders, and we're a bunch of chimpanzees running around this planet. And it's actually really sad. So we actually beat ourselves up to optimize, to chase after things that are an illusion, because we've been lied to, and we tell ourselves if we can get a Cadillac Escalade and a nice house that will be somebody. But really, when you get that stuff, nobody cares. Nobody's proud of you. Your own father doesn't care. If anything, people become envious of you, and they think you have money all of a sudden, and it's this weird thing. But in the entrepreneur world, you'll never get that type of thought or talks from people that are more successful than you. That's why the biggest thing about mindset is to get around people who have very high standards. When I'm talking a lot, bro.
What does a typical day look like for Keith Kalfas? How do you stay so motivated and encouraged daily?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, my day shifts back and forth like almost like a bipolar pendulum between total anxiety and discouragement and feeling like failure is not a good word to use. Feeling like a failure to the standards that I had set for myself. And then at some point it shifts into high drive and my whole mindset turns around. So I have to have a lot of conversations with myself about, hey, you're just feeling this way now. This is like, it's like the shadow self. So I go to bed. I was trying to get to bed a little bit earlier, but all winter long, I'm going to bed. I'm going to sleep at 3:30 in the morning. So I will literally, I sleep 8 hours. And so I wake up at 11:30 in the morning all winter long, because when the world is asleep, that's when I'm writing. Like I wrote 4 books. I'm writing my 5th, and I've already started my 6th book. And my 5th book is interviews with experts. It's this whole thing that we've done. And then my 6th book is called Know Your Worth. So I make like herbal tea. I read the Bible every single night. And then I also I watch sermons by Pastor Derek Prince, who is like one of the top this pastors. Derek Prince with subtitles is the YouTube channel. It's deep. I think he passed away in 2005. But I'm deep into being spiritually yoked and studying the life and walk of Jesus Christ, and I'm very much into studying strongholds. And this is going to sound really weird, but it's like from his perspective, demonology, and finding out what holds people back. And the reason why I'm on this spiritual path is because in my position, if we get 4 to 5 million views a month online, I have many men reaching out to me and DMing me, sending me messages and emails, their life stories that, a brother watched my video and he took a gun out of his mouth and started crying because he watched my video. He didn't commit suicide. Okay. I have men that I meet at live conferences that come up to me, and they will want to take a picture with me, and they will have their family with them, and they say, Keith, I was on drugs and I watched your videos, and now I've started my landscape business, and now I was able to get married and start a family, and I have a house now, and I just want to say thank you, brother. I'm like, bro, I can't. And I have people that reach out to me with a lot of their struggles. So I was like, I dropped on my face. I'm like, Lord, if you created me to inspire people or to help people find courage within themselves, I need to be properly yoked up, because I believe that, well, I'll just call it simply, if you're trying to do God's work, I said trying to do God's work. I'm not on here saying I'm some evangelist or something, but the devil doesn't like that. So I understand you have to have like a shield and a helmet and a girdle of truth and have spiritual armor and be very walk a path of consciousness, because I take it incredibly serious. So how does my day that's excuse me, but I wake up and get my plant-based protein shake with my greens and my coffee. I always say good morning to my wife, and I pet my dogs, and I get ready for work, and I send out morning text messages. I got clients. We schedule the job. We go to a job. We work, and the entire day is spent running two businesses, a landscape business and a media business at the same time, and basically multitasking all day. I only do physical labor in my business to actually get a workout and to get sunshine. I don't do it because I have to. I do it because I like to, and I go crazy if I don't get the physical workout. But my business now is more like I don't know, it's like my landscaping business is like this gymnasium workout gym movie studio where I make videos and interface with a landscaping business. And I pretty much have just take care of my core clients now, and we screen out new clients. Like out of every 100 phone calls, I might take 5 customers. I'm that picky with who we do work for now, because I'm not even supposed to be. I don't know. I, anyways, I love helping people, and it takes so much time out of my life that to run a full-time landscape business would be a huge disservice to my calling. I get a little triggered around that topic because there's people like, why aren't you running a multi-million-dollar business? I don't understand. And people are like freaking out in the comments saying like, why is this guy not like, why hasn't he grown a multi-million-dollar landscape business? And it's like, bro, I have a way more important stuff to do when it comes to helping other men. I can't do both. I feel like I would be doing a huge disservice to my calling. I'd be ignoring so I could go make a bunch of money, right? And I do make a bunch of money on the internet. So I kind of won in that matter. But yeah, I'm a very frustrated dude, and I'm happy and I'm courageous. And we just traveled the country. We just finished season 1 of the Entrepreneur Shop Tour series. We interviewed entrepreneurs all over the country, and it cost me like $20,000 to do it, and it was fun. Yeah, I love inspiring people. There's my whole story.
When you talked about that survival mode,
Yeah.
people just trying to get through the week, what advice would you give that person on how to get out of that frame of mind to where they're not just trying to survive, but they're starting to thrive?
I'm glad that you asked that because there's an inconvenient truth, and I'm here to confirm your suspicions. If somebody is struggling and they want to thrive and they're in survival mode, I always used to tell myself this story. If I could just make 2,500 extra per month take home, or 5,000, or whatever the number was for me, money would solve all these freaking problems. If I could just make money, more money, money would actually solve all these problems. Well, here's the inconvenient truth. Money solves almost all of those problems. All the problems that you're stressed out about, that you think, if I just had more money or I was able to make more money, would solve all those problems. Money solves all problems that money can solve. Now, if you have problems in your marriage, money will not solve them. Like, you can go out to steak dinner and drink wine, and you can go lease brand new cars and all that. But if you got a problem in your marriage, money doesn't do anything. It just doesn't do anything. But, um, but yeah, the answer is make more money. And how do you make more money? It's by sales cure all problems. So when you get really good at sales and marketing, and you know how to communicate with people, and we're in the business of creating offers. So I want you to go out and create 10 times the amount of offers that you're creating. So every single person, every neighbor, everybody is a customer. Hey, you got a problem? We can solve it. We can trim your whole property. We can do your landscaping, $3,500. We can do it next week. No? Okay, what about this? Like, you just don't take no for an answer. You're like, you just, dude, I could go sell $50,000 for the stuff in the next 3 days. Like, just by it's once you get the hang of it, it becomes when you get over the rejection, it's like the unlock code. When you figure out how to sell, and then to get out of the survival mode, when you learn how to sell, and it's really just being present with customers. You say, I can do that. And you walk property with them and you're hyper present with the customer. Your level of assertiveness and presence confirming to them that you can do the job. I mean, I can get into marketing stuff as long as, along with having a professional website and a Google Maps with tons of positive reviews and pictures of your work and professional brochures and business cards. It's an entire look. It's basically a messaging ecosystem that has, it's like a, it's kind of orchestrated. Like, if everything is consistent from the marketing to what they see on the internet to the way you pick up the phone to the way you show up to the quality of your presence and the quality of your communication is the quality of your response, and everything is consistent, you will land way more work at way higher prices if you also know your worth. So pick a number, and I don't know what the number is. I just make up a random number. Say you're going to hit $50,000 in the bank. Set out and start climbing this mountain and say, and if that's too much, say 20 grand. Say, I'm not going to stop until I have, my goal by the end of the season is to have all bills and everything paid, obviously, but I want 20,000 liquids sitting in the bank in pure savings, even after taxes. And then when you set your mind on that like a heat-seeking missile, boom, 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 boom. It's like you're like, you shoot for 100%, but you're shooting for 130%, 100. And each time you get that little extra 30%, 15%, and you're socking it away. So the way to get out of survival mode is to go immediately and open up a separate account. This is freaking amazing. This was a game changer for me. I've well, if you include Venmo and PayPal, I have 18 bank accounts, right? So you know how there's cells in a ice cube tray, and if you put water in one cell, if you only had one cell, it just spills over and down the sink. If you got two, it'll spill into cell number 2. If you got 16 cells, it'll spill 16, 36, 64. So go create more cells, right? And then now define percentages. And you don't always get your shoulds, but you always get your musts. So go open up a separate business, I mean savings account, and call it whatever you want. I don't know. Winter savings. That's like one of the accounts I have. So I have a predetermined amount of money that I must have by December 1st when we basically wrap up in Michigan to cover me for the whole winter. And so April 1st, I'm running like my hair is on fire, socking away money every single week into the winter savings account as if it was like already Thanksgiving and I only had no time left. Like, and I'm running like my hair is on fire with urgency, socking money away. And let's say you have to have, I don't know, pick a number, 25 grand. Then you might have to use that money during the winter, and make sure in your winter savings account you have a good, I don't know how big your business is, a 3, 6, 9, $12,000 to get you out of the hole next spring. So you have to have launch money for the next spring to cover payroll and all that stuff because there's a delay. So then once you get there, the first year you might have to spend it, but now when the winter comes, you're hustling, you're plowing snow, you have side hustles, whatever you're doing in your business. The goal is, can I get through the whole winter without even touching the winter savings account at all? So now it makes you hustle even harder. It's like storing up grain. So then you say, oh, I want to open up a retirement account. Now the goal is I'm going to do all this plus put money in this retirement account. Boom, 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 boom. Now I want to have an investment account. Now I want to have like, so if I heard somebody like me talking right now, like say, get out of survival mode, the first step is actually to increase your consciousness around your worthiness and realize there's a lot of people that are a heck of a lot dumber than you who have figured out how to get what they want. The most successful people I know that makes the most amount of money in the green industry are people that were broke, had nothing handed to them. They came from families of drug addicts and alcoholics and heroin addicted family members who put needles in their arms. God bless them. So my mom died of a heroin overdose, and they've been to countless funerals. They grew up abused by drug addicts and alcoholics. They've lived in foster homes. They were left to sit on a porch while their father never showed up. They were abandoned. And these people figured out how to find the strength within themselves to stop the generational curse, and how to say, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. They figured out somehow how to operate over the top of all that and still somehow make it happen. So I think you have to draw a line when you're like the survival mode between the victim mindset and like what is real trauma that's controlling you behind the scenes. So what percentage of this is just a story that I'm telling myself that I have to stop repeating? And then what's the other percentage that's a real actual like trauma that you're screwed up and you need to like I don't know. I believe that you can pray under the right I can't give it advice here specifically, but you can have things broken off of you where you can have a renewing of your mind, or you can seek counsel, or you can get some therapy or something like that. But there are people who have been through things that they can totally grow from and through and overcome them, and then use that as a foundation that they can put their foot on and step upward. So it's like the donkey that fell in the hole in the village, and the donkey fell down in the hole like 12 feet deep, and it couldn't get out, and the donkey was going to starve to death. So the village people gather, and they're like, we got to throw dirt on it and just bury it alive. I don't know, but they're throwing dirt on the donkey, and every time they throw dirt on the donkey's back, the donkey is shaking off the dirt, and it keeps getting underneath his feet. And as it's stepping around, it's packing the dirt underneath its feet. And they keep throwing more and more and more and more dirt on the donkey. And the donkey is shaking it off, step up, shake it off, step up, dirt, shake off, step up. And so they throw so much dirt on the donkey, it keeps shaking, packing it under its feet. The donkey's actually like elevating and walks right out of the hole. So your level of resilience is important as well. But I think as a man, if you don't feel loved, you don't feel appreciated, you don't feel honored, you don't feel listened to by the people that you love, that's why I think you can turn to your Father in heaven, because it's a sad, inconvenient truth. If you're trapped in survival mode, there's something going on that's stopping you from knowing and feeling your deepest worthiness. I was thinking about this today. If you're trapped working like as a cook in a restaurant, it is almost impossible for you to get the money, knowledge, and experience and equipment and down payment and rent and zoning and leasing and licensing and health to go start your own freaking restaurant. It's just probably not going to happen unless you have a lot of money. You grew up in restaurants. It's a family business. But you could go start a low barrier to entry power washing or window cleaning or landscaping or lawn care business. So I think that we have a huge advantage here. If you're even in the green industry, or because you actually have the opportunity. And so the one thing I love about a landscaping business is you're going to work your tail off. That's for sure. You're going to work by the sweat of your brow, but you can learn about, so you can say, how do you stay motivated and encouraged? You can say, wait a second. Instead of me thinking I'm a grown man who's pulling people's weeds and trimming their bushes and mowing their lawn, I should be, you name it by now, say, wait, I have a real opportunity here to learn how to run a little tiny business and run it as if it were a big business. I can actually put systems in it. I can learn how taxes work and the tax code and workers' comp and payroll and insurance. And it's all actually a pretty low risk business unless you're doing tree work. I can actually learn about systems and math and marketing and administration and production and sales and the customer communication and automation. I can learn how to hire employees, and I can do split tests with the marketing, with the sales, and figure out and learn my man-hour rate. You can learn this entire set of skills and get excited about your business in a way that I guarantee you 90% of the other landscapers and lawn care guys are not thinking this way. So with audiobooks, you can, like I said, stand on the shoulders of giants and get so here's the best thing I could say. Give yourself permission to fall in love with yourself again. Like, sounds crazy, man, because I'm a grown-ass man here, but it's not. If you actually just hug yourself, you know what, man? I love me. Like, I woke up today. I have this heart that beats 100,000 times a day. I don't have any control. This is an autonomic response in part of my nervous, and it's in this lungs. Like, I didn't create my lungs. Like, I'm. If you have fingers and toes and hands and feet, and you can, then you must. And because it's like you say, what? Let's go in my line of consciousness, and let's move over and say, what if I started to look at this thing like an experiment? I've already thought these same thoughts for the past how many years? They've gotten me to where I'm at. But what if I get excited again and I start to like make my life an unfolding waking dream? Let me think of it like it's like a dream. Where something as simple as stirring your coffee in the morning is like, it's like a miracle. It's almost like you're like completely organically tripping on like magic mushrooms or something, but you're not, because you probably shouldn't do that. What I mean is, have you allowed yourself to have so much gratitude that you actually cry at just seeing a bird like a cardinal fly over you and land in a tree, and tears come down your face? I was in the supermarket. My wife and dogs were in the truck, and we ran in to get some fruits and vegetables and some food real quick, and she wanted to just wait in the truck. And as I was pushing the cart, there was a song on in the grocery store, and there was people pushing their carts around, just grabbing fruits and vegetables. And all of a sudden, like, this happened like a couple weeks ago, I like shifted into a different dimension, totally sober. And I noticed that every single person in the grocery store and all the groceries and everything was all perfectly divine on God's time. There was nobody stressed out. There was no anger. And everything was unfolding like I was like watching a movie. And I was just pushing my cart, minding my own business. But I was like, I almost started to cry because everything was a perfect symphonic harmonic dance. And it was like everybody, what I saw was that God loves all of us, right? And everything was perfect in his divine creation. And then boom, it went away and I went back to normal and I was just pushing my cart. And it was so amazing that I almost cried, because I learned that when you change the way you see things, the things you see change. So what I'm talking about is your receiving muscle here. If you don't feel worthy, you cannot open up and receive. Say, I receive through gratitude. You know what? I just receive it, bro. I receive this, these high-end clients, or the money. This year is the year I'm going to make way more money I've ever made in my life at way higher profits. I'm just totally worth it, bro. I'm worth it. 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 And when you believe you're worth it in your heart so much, and you're done with the old stories, and you're like, you know what? Those stories no longer serve me. I let that go. I'm open to this new chapter in my life. It's a miracle I receive. And you know your math, and you have a standardized price chart. You're not like just running around, I receive. Like you're running a practical business here. This is for real. But your heart, you're operating with the heart and spirit of, this is a higher law form. You're in the jurisdiction of commerce, running an actual business, right? It's a maritime admiralty law and all this stuff. But you have a heart and spirit of service. And you know your worth. Your back is straighter. You breathe different. Something's changing in your consciousness, and you believe in yourself so much. You might just be doing landscaping, but I guarantee you, just that subtle tweak in your consciousness of changing the way you see things will change everything. A problem I had in my late 20s is I was very much a grown man, but when it came to business, I didn't have a backbone, and I had the consciousness. I thought of myself as a kid. I talk about this in my Know Your Worth speech. You can listen to it if you Keith Kalfas Know Your Worth, type it in anywhere. So these really successful clients, they would literally belittle me, and they would talk me down and take advantage of me financially. And I didn't understand why. And one time I heard this rich client of mine behind my back. He knew somebody I knew. He referred to me as the landscaper kid. And I got so pissed off when I heard about this. And I was like, why am I so angry? Because there was something in there that was true. I said, oh my gosh, when I'm around this rich client, because he has a big house and BMWs and Ferraris, I behave like a kid. I'm putting him on a pedestal. No, I'm the rich man, because we both wake up and we're both going to die and be buried in a tomb. I mean, in a grave, and we're all, you know what I mean? Like, when you look into the eyes of another man from a place of you knowing your worth and believing in yourself, it's a totally different energy field. I know a man, I won't say his name, but he's like real high up guy. And one time a state trooper police officer pulled him over, and the man came up to his car. And most people get nervous when a police officer pulls you over, right? It's just like this thing that's ingrained in our society. But as a man, he looked in the police officer's eyes, and this was for real. He wasn't trying to be manipulative or anything. He said, man, you look like you've had a rough day. Are you okay? And he was for real. He wasn't trying to be manipulative. He said the trooper, the police officer, broke down crying right in front of him, and they talked for like 20 minutes, bro, because this police officer was legitimately having a horrible week, bro, and nobody saw him as a man. And it was like I don't know if he gave him a ticket or not, but it was like you're looking in the eyes of somebody as a true living, breathing man, including yourself. Not just, it's not the name that's on your shirt. It's not the type of truck that you drive. It's not. So this is a scary place to be, because you're like, oh my gosh, my entire identity now. You're like, you feel like you're being exposed. It's like being born again. But I encourage you to realize that you don't have to like let down your identity completely, but you can practice and work with trying new things and looking at it as an experiment. So if you want to get out of survival mode, realize that you're doing survival mode, and it's become a habit, and it's also reflecting in your bank account. I had a goal to get certain amounts of money in the bank, and I said, when I get this much money in the bank, I'll feel safe. And you know what happened? I got that amount of money in the bank. For the first time in my whole life of growing up in poverty and poor and working 80, 90 hours a week, and the eviction notices and the debt collectors, and I paid all that stuff off. And finally got perfect credit and money in the bank. We were able to go on vacations. We had new cars, no more car troubles, and there's like steak dinners. And like, I sat in my house and I said, it worked. I actually felt safe, because the proverbial saber-toothed tiger was chomping away at the bottom line. And then I realized that was nowhere near enough, and I had to double that amount. And then I started becoming a hypochondriac. I said, oh my God, well, what if something horrible happens with my health? Or what if this? And then I started like going down this rabbit hole of, it's higher levels, higher devils, they call it. Like, so anyways, that's a whole totally different topic there. I'm talking, man. You're such a good listener. I'm just talking nonstop, bro.
Just taking it in. It's so good. Have you always been a positive person, or did you go through something that changed the way you looked at life and how to run your business and how to be successful? Or did you grow up and go through school and get married and always be a positive person? Or did something happen to change you to be what you are?
That's a phenomenal question. I remember being a kid growing up in Metro Detroit. I mean, I've lived in 31 homes, I've had 50 jobs, I went to 14 schools, and slept in my car. I grew up around, how do I say this very carefully? I can't say it on social media. People, I got to be careful what I say. How about this? I didn't see color when I was a kid growing up. I was the only, I think I was the only white kid in all black school, and then I was the only white kid in an all black church. They called me Brother Keith, and I was always fascinated. Like I was the kid that if I saw like an old man sitting on a park bench throwing bread, feeding ducks, I would go up to him and just start asking him, like, why are you feeding the ducks? What is that ring on your finger? What is that scar? If I saw someone in a wheelchair, I'd walk up to him and be like, why are you in a wheelchair? I'd be like, you can't say that. But then I would learn, oh, he was a war veteran and this man like lost his legs or had diabetes, or why is this man sad because he lost his wife? And I would learn all these amazing things. And then I grew up around people who were like judgmental in fear, and they don't talk to people, can't do this. But I would like, I got into network multi level marketing when I was like 18 years old, and like the Amway stuff. And so they taught you have to quote unquote contact people. It's like a form of marketing, word of mouth, before the internet was big. So, bro, I was going to like the bookstore. I was anywhere in public. I'm just striking up conversations with people so I can. It's called STP. List, contact, show the plan, follow up. List, contact, show the plan, follow up. So you basically you get them to meet you in a coffee shop, and you show them this plan on a piece of paper, and then you give them like books and CDs, and then you invite them to the Tuesday night meeting, so then they can sign up and become part of this multi-level marketing thing and get their lives changed. When I became part of that, my friend Chris Taylor, I'm actually getting coffee with him on Friday. I worked lawn care all day. I was like 18, and I already had my own apartment at 18. I was like, I ran away when I was like 15 years old, and by the time I was 18, I had my own place. Um, I I think it was, yeah, okay. If I could go back even further, I remember now. We moved from the ghetto, and my mom got this low income housing. So we moved into the suburbs. Yet I was the poor kid who got like free lunch and had Velcro shoes. And one time I was with I started learning that my friends in school lived in all these like nice houses. And they were on like travel hockey teams and soccer teams. And they actually had like legit Christmas presents under the tree. And like we ate powdered eggs, tap water, cornflakes, and pancakes for 3 months straight. We didn't have any electricity or heat. So we slept all together under multiple blankets to keep warm. And my mom, I don't know how she got she I think we had gas. She had to heat up water and put it with cold water in the bathtub. And so like me and then my sister and my mom would all have to share the same bath water, taking turns, because we literally didn't even couldn't even make hot water. So we had child protective services coming trying to take us away. And so like uh I remember us being poor and living in a homeless shelters twice for battered and abused women, right? So we grew up like pretty poor, and by the time my mom got approved for this like government low income housing in the middle of the suburbs, I was like the poorest kid in the school, but I didn't really know it yet. And I remember one time I was with friends. I was like in middle school. We were driving past where I lived, and my friends that were in the car with their parents, I don't. We were like going to the mall or something. They're like, "Hey, look, that's the projects. Like that's where Keith lives." And then all of a sudden, like, they're like, "Shh, don't do that." Like, hey, he's right here in the car. And then this sense of like shame came over me. And then I started to realize that, um, yeah, comparison is the thief of joy. My friend Chad, Chad was on a travel hockey team, and he's like, "Hey, you want to come to my hockey game, bro?" And so I go to his hockey game, and it's like his parents buy him all this hockey stuff, and it was like I go to his hockey game, and I'm just sitting there. I had never been to a hockey game in my life. I'm just a kid. Um, on the way back in his mom's van, it occurred to me that I never got any of that, and we wore hand-me-down clothes, right? And I don't know why I felt um I just started sobbing, crying in the back of the van, and his mom looked at me in my eyes through the rearview mirror, and she knew why I was crying. And my friend Chad didn't even understand why I was crying. I was like hiding my face, and I was like sobbing because I had never done any of that shit. I was just like ignored and left alone. I remember one time there was this I don't want to ever disrespect my mother, because my mom had a heart of gold, and she's in heaven for sure, and she gave me a level of unconditional love that she's the greatest mother of all, and I honor her and I respect her. My mom protected my sisters and me with an unequivocal type of love that I wouldn't be the man that I am today without my mother. My mother taught me a level of morals and honesty, and she taught me love and protection and all these things that no money could ever buy. So in return, in regards to having true wealth, I had all the wealth and very poor, but in a loving mother who is who is, even though she became a drug addict and she mixed crack with heroin, and my little sister found her. Um, and I think she fell and she hit her head on something, and that's how she died. But that's what my sister said. I believe that I had the greatest gift of all. And um so anyways, I just want to say to anybody here, no matter like what you've been through, if you ever want to blame somebody, you have to consciously blame them. It's like, you bastard, it's because of you. But say also, it's because of you that I am as strong as I am today, and because I'm an entrepreneur, it's because of you that I have learned all these things about myself that have made me this motivated person that I am today. It's because of you that I care. So if you want to know what your purpose is, you can start by giving to the world what you've been denied. If you feel that you were denied growing up, then you can give that and you can give back. You know what I'm saying? One of the regrets I had when I was just turning 15, there was no food or milk in the fridge or anything. We were like really poor. And my mom was in and out of the hospital. Now I wouldn't just leave and leave my little sister home alone. But I literally, I ran away. I think I was 14. And it didn't even occur to me till years later, because my little sister's father isn't in her life either. We have different dads, and my older sister left when she was like 11. I was like, it hit me one day that I had abandoned my little sister. And I called her up practically. I had tears in my eyes. I was crying. And I said, I am so sorry. The man that I am today, I would have never left you and abandoned you. I would have stayed, and I would have worked and made sure that there was food in the fridge and milk, and I would have cooked dinner and made sure that you had everything you needed and you were protected. And I beat myself up about that for years. And the funniest thing is, I'm actually leaving to go out of state. My little sister is getting her bachelor's degree, and because her father isn't there, I'm going to be there for her, and anything that she needs, I will be there. I like stick up for and protect my little sister so much. Both of my sisters, so my wife and my sisters, those are the most important people to me. So much that I'm talking too much personal stuff here. My I'm so protective over my sister. Like, obviously, my wife wants me to put her first, and I put my wife first. It goes God and then my wife, right?
Right.
But it's like I would fly across the country and I would do anything. I truly understand the value of family, and if and my older sister is a classical jazz musician. She's a singer and she's a music teacher. And I always looked up to her my whole life growing up. And it's very funny. She actually cried to me and apologized to me, and she felt like she had ignored and abandoned me when she left when she was like 11. And I was like, what do you mean? I don't feel that way towards you at all. She's like, well, I'm really sorry if I was ever mean to you when you were a perfect little kid and I love you. And I was like, no, I love you. Everything's great. And my sister had the same reaction to me. She wasn't mad at me at all or anything. So I understand that if you have family, that's where the true wealth is right there. Stay connected to your family. If somebody's extremely toxic, find a way to break through to them. And if they're destructively toxic, then you just don't have any choice sometimes but to cut them off. But just know that one of you is going to be at the other one's funeral and suffering grievously, crying while you're watching their body be lowered into the ground and dirt be put on top of it, and you will never see them ever again in this lifetime. So if there's something in between you that needs to be broken, or an apology or something, uh, do it immediately and do it swiftly, because the consequences will be severe for you. And I don't care if you grow a $1 million landscaping business, they're not going to care at all. Nobody's going to care. Your clients don't care. You'll be lucky if your clients show up to your funeral. So, that's why you should read like books like The Eight Forms. The Wealth Money Can't Buy by Robin Sharma, and The Everyday Hero Manifesto, and really dive into this other side, because you'll learn where the true wealth lies, and it's in stuff like that.
Well, Keith, our industry needs you. We need your voice. You are a tremendous man. And when I say a tremendous man, a businessman, a family man, and a God-fearing man. So I appreciate so much everything you've had to say tonight. I've just taken it in. And I know our listeners have done the same thing, because you have offered us some life-changing experiences that not only changed your life, it can change our lives. So I appreciate you so much, and I thank you for coming on my show. It means the world to me that you agreed to be a guest on my show. And can you tell our listeners how they can contact you, how they can follow you, where they can find you if they want to subscribe to your YouTube or your social medias?
Yes. It's just at Keith Kalfas everywhere. My YouTube channel is at Keith-Kalfas, and my podcast is the Unstrapped Podcast on all podcast platforms. We just crossed 850,000 downloads. You can find me at Keith Kalfas anywhere. And then you can reach out to me if you want to on the social media platforms, or DM me.
Well, Tony Rudolph told me, he called me and asked me to be a guest on his show. And he said, when I meet somebody and we become friends, we're friends for life. So I feel that way about you. I feel like I have put a person behind all the videos. Now, when I watch your videos, I feel like I can get more out of them because I've gotten to know you in this podcast recording. So again, thank you so much for being on my show. It means the world to me. Don't ever give up. Don't ever stop. Don't ever quit, because we need your voice.
I love that. Likewise, and that goes to every brother listening to this right now.
Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate you being on the Lawn Hustle. And until we talk again, keep the grass greener on your side of the fence. And I hope you have a great day.
Likewise, brother. Thank you for having me on your show. And to everybody here, much honor to you. Have a good evening.
You too. I appreciate you. Thank you.